What's going on, everybody? Welcome to an episode of Brotherly Banter. I almost said basement game. Oh man, we are back for today's episode. We're gonna cover a legendary movie, top tier against its own peers, thus beating out Mortal Kombat. Nay, I say here, bars. Demon Slayer.
They're squeaking. Stupid.
Demon Slayer. And now here's the thing. Mm-hmm. If you read the manga, now obviously talking about anime, we always compare manga to anime, which usually they are the same, except for if you're super and you're just one's different than the other. This just
you're
doesn't make
for
sense.
failure.
It doesn't
way.
make sense. I hate you. So let me start off by saying this. To say it now, obviously it broke records in Japan last year, but really nobody really saw it, so we don't know. And we're curious on, okay, we read the manga, we know what was going to happen, but the heck did they animate? It was like, what did you do to make this movie? And it's one of those movies where usually when you have movies like that, especially anime movies, sometimes you go on YouTube and you rewatch certain fight scenes. You don't really rewatch the whole movie, which I kind of get, because anime, much like any movie, you have certain opening action moments. The middle is usually like talking, figuring out, whatever, and then you have the climactic end. Much like with this one. However, the storytelling, which in the manga it was great. It was great. Like, it is really something. Me and him were saying that is the one anime movie that I will buy again. The other one would be My Hero, the last one that came out. I can't remember the name of it.
Two Rising.
Yeah, I would say that because I actually did enjoy the whole thing.
Okay.
But nowhere is My Hero close. It's just like, and there's no disrespect to My Hero, because Dragon Ball Super Broly, I liked it, but this is like,
I think the difference is with Dragon Ball movies, you know what you're getting into, because it's the same format.
Yeah,
every movie, you know, it's Goku, Vegeta, or whoever they want to focus on.
Yeah.
Sometimes on random occasions, it's Gohan and Piccolo and Goten and Trunks and everybody else. And then you have your villain. They get whooped the first time. They come back. I don't know how. All of a sudden, you know, power, friendship, and screaming.
Or somebody dies or almost dies.
And they go toe to toe with the person, and they come out on top. Whether it's Goku, Vegeta, whoever.
Yes.
Triumphant. Yeah, guys, we did it. My Hero. You know, that school trip.
Yeah.
Villain happens to be there.
The ending to it threw me off.
Yes.
I'm not gonna lie. When they shared the thing, that actually, I think that's why I say that was cool, because I didn't expect that. I just thought somehow Deku was just gonna break his limits or sometime and then win.
Because most anime movies, even outside the movies, even the show follows the same format.
Yes.
Heroes go to X, Y, and Z place, or a trip, or whatever the premise of the show is. Villain just so happens to be there sometimes, or looking for the exact same thing they are. Sometimes they get beat first, or if someone in that group gets whooped, villain gets said peace. They get stronger. Main group goes to X, Y, and Z area. They have their, battle.
Yeah.
Heroes come out on top. With Demon Slayer, it's heroes go to the location of the missing, where people have died. They meet up with the Hashirama. Hashira, close. And everything just goes from there. And there's no that we get beat the first time, we come back stronger, or imaginary power up out of nowhere. It flows. Because
even in this, there was no we get beat and then we come back. It was literally just like
we beat, we die.
We beat, we die. There's no revival. And I think that's the thing that I'm so, except it's like this anime, and I would say like Naruto compares in the sense of when you die, that's it. Unless you do
Tentai.
Yeah, but then again, like for instance, Neji, he died. I'm sitting there like, so I'm so hoping. It's like, take the dog guy.
The dog guy.
But no, with this one, it's literally like you die.
Yeah.
So I think with this, seeing or reading,
the stakes are there for the viewers, because there's no. It's like with Dragon Ball, for example. you know if one of them dies, you're like, all right, eventually they'll be brought back to Dragon Ball because there's no real stake of you dying, you stay dead.
Yeah.
With this, it was they got put to sleep. If they would have died in said dream, they would have died.
In real life,
They were trapped on the train because the demon took over the train and fused with the train, so they had no choice but to kill the demon. Yeah,
that was
in there.
such a slick move. Yeah.
And even when the upper moon showed up, it wasn't like, oh, if he dies, we just take him to the nearest hospital or perform some healing technique that no one knew about.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, like, oh, I just so
because
happened
even
to...
when the GOAT, he is officially number one in my anime.
I think it's like Rengeku. I forgot what he's like. Rengeku Anyways,
yeah.
Keep going.
So it was funny when Tanjiro was saying, "Do your breathing technique," and he's like, "Yeah, that's not how this one works.
Yeah.
I can't breathe my organs back together."
Yeah, he had a hole through his stomach. Yeah, it's not an imaginary pull out of your rear end where it's like all of a sudden one of them just like.
Oh, I know how to do this.
Yeah, it's like, oh, I just imagine like this, like, oh, I just so happened to remember.
The only thing that would have made me laugh, and I'm thinking about it because I wouldn't have been shocked seeing how animes go. The only way I would have seen them somehow pulling something out of their butts and keeping him alive is if somehow Tanjiro's sister came out of nowhere and she was like, oh, something like
her fire over sudden heals. I'll be like,
because doesn't she do that in the next?
She doesn't heal with her fire. She doesn't heal anyone with her fire. Her fire is only for her blood art is only for damaging.
Oh no! With flamboyant, flashy, whatever his name is.
Yeah.
In the end of the manga, was it her or somebody else who stopped the poison or healed him?
Stop the poison. There's only two
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, there's only two people who know poison, and one was the Hashira of the butterfly chick, and then her apprentice.
And then,
the one who was training Tanjiro and them.
So was it Tanjiro's sister who did something at the end? Who healed Flashy at the end?
I don't remember. He didn't. Well, I don't want to say anything because obviously the arc doesn't happen. Mr. Spoiler.
Okay, we'll talk about it.
You just have a bad habit of spoiling stuff.
I know he was about to die, and somebody came in this. I can't remember if it was a sister, Tanjiro's sister, or somebody else. I gotta figure it out.
Thanks. Now people know he's about to kick the bucket. Thank you, Corey. Once again, spoiling stuff for people.
Spoil it.
This is why TRT don't like you. People don't want to know. You know what? Cut it out. Just cut that whole part out. Just cut the whole part out. I can't stand
All right,
you.
so I have a question though about this movie. There was the premise of it as far as Rengeku. Where I think, and I could be wrong, that's what I'm asking. His main job was to save everybody from the train.
Yeah.
Okay, mission accomplished. Remove that aspect. Let's say he didn't have to worry about anybody.
He still would have lost.
Okay, thank you. That was my.
I'm saying he still would have lost because
I know he wasn't a sun breather.
Yeah.
So my thing is, he was like, what does his dad say? He was like below, like whatever tier below.
I think he still would have lost. His main goal was to protect everyone.
Yes.
So granted, he may would have had a better shot of winning, I think, if he did it, because I remember Zetsu said when the train was getting ready to flip over, he did like a bunch of his techniques at once to lessen the damage.
Yes.
So I would say if he didn't have to do any of that, and let's say the train just stopped.
Yeah.
And everyone got off.
And still like a 1v1 kind of.
Yeah, he might have had a better shot of winning, but I feel like for story purposes, he still would have died.
Yeah.
Because even if he won, I still think he would have died. It would have been a trade-off.
That's valid. Okay, because I was thinking, because I was going back, like a couple nights ago, I was going back through the manga and stuff, and he's not the strongest, Hashi, but I feel like he's at least maybe 2. I would give him 2. I know he's not the strongest. So I would say he's the second one. And one other part that drew me was at the end of it when they were saying, oh, even he died. Yeah. And when somebody says that, you're probably like, oh, sheesh. It's like, this is super OP and he lost.
Well, the thing is, I can understand that because that upper moon wasn't even the strongest one out of the rest of them.
He was like 3?
Yes, I think he was 3.
Yeah.
Because I know one, which I can't wait for that to be anime, but that won't be for a while.
Oh, yes.
I know a second one. I know the matchup for that one, and I know...
Because the brothers...
No, I know 3.
Yeah, okay.
The next arc covers another upper moon.
Okay.
Which is the red light district with Mr. Flamboyant.
I saw that
The other remaining ones, I believe, aren't until like the final act.
Yeah. Okay. So I think that's the part that, in my head, in my world, he wins. And again, I'm going back to the manga, and I'm looking at the movie, the manga, the past statements about him. The fact that, obviously, like his dad said, he wasn't a sun breather.
Yeah.
So the sun breathers, obviously, like his dad, was like the...
Yes.
And whoever the original... there was a sun breather, Hashi, I forgot who he was, they said. He was obviously like the greatest, which, okay, I got it. Sun breather's the best.
Yeah, I don't even know.
But, shut up. So when they made his statement, it was known that he was the closest thing to perfect, even though he wasn't perfect. So to me, if you remove, I guess, like to me, I look at limiters as like, okay, if he had to save the people on the train, he covered like 5 cars by himself, which, dude, speed is insane.
Yeah.
And he left everything else to Zenitsu and everybody else, and I get that, guys, he should. If you remove all that, let's say train stopped. Let's say everybody got off, they just went scurrying, police came in, whoever was in charge.
Police.
They escorted, he told the boarhead dudes and escort everybody, yo, take them, go. Let's say, I feel like he would have had a better shot because, and again, Tanjiro is that piece. Because I feel as though, now obviously this is different storyline purposes, but let's say he didn't have to use the flame technique and he didn't become crippled or mobilized, sorry. And he was able to fight. I feel like he would have...
Wait, if who was able to fight? Tanjiro?
Yeah.
He would have been a liability.
No. Here's my point. Look, follow me. Follow me. I hear you. I'm not saying he was capable of like, you know...
Speed blitzing.
No. I'm not saying that. But I feel as though he has these, and I feel like in the manga I'm going to start seeing more of it after, because I finished the recent one. These like awakening, limit breaking moments, but they only last but for so long in his speed. So I feel as though Ringeku would have had a better shot of winning. Now I agree. I'm not saying he just would have won, like, he would have been good.
Yeah.
But I feel as though he would have had a better chance of surviving.
I still think he dies.
And here's the thing. Okay, here's the thing. Go ahead.
For
storyline purposes.
Yes. He has the reason to die. Because for stuff with mangas and shonens like that, you can't obviously
all
always
the heroes
have...
can't be like...
Yeah, and I get Zenitsu and Nosuke and Tanjiro reaching their somewhat limit, fighting the lower moon, because that's basically their bar.
Yes.
When it comes to the upper moon versus the Hashira, you can't have the first introduction of an upper moon when we've already seen previously 2 Hashiras at work, which was the water and obviously the poison.
Yeah.
And then you go from those 2 to this dude, and you can't be like, oh, he won, but he's alive, but barely.
But barely.
Then you go into the next arc, and let's say next arc happens, and they win that fight against another upper moon.
No, I see.
And you go into the final one, and then let's say they struggle with the last 3, and they're like, we'll just bring those 2 in.
Yeah.
And just wax everyone.
No.
And I'm just like,
I know. No.
Okay.
I know real animes, and the reason I say I don't put Super into this category as like a real anime, because with us growing up, I remember, watching animes and somebody actually dies and they don't come back.
Yes.
Because
that's what I like.
Because you have that emotional attachment, and that's what they did with this. Every single person that has watched this movie, every comment, anybody that I know that has watched this movie, they all say, I'm not gonna lie, I teared up. It was just like, I don't even know this dude. He showed up, and he had this
from start to finish. It was I guess I could say it was a good character introduction to him on the train.
He had go ahead,
and then he was the first person to not get out of that sleep, but to his body reflex, and choke the person. Yeah, and then you have him when Tanjiro's trying to fight off and protect the cart. Somehow he woke up. Yeah, speed blitzed through all the cards, covered like 6 in 1, and then covered 5. Yeah. And then you go from to him fighting, I guess you could say almost on par with said Upper Moon.
That's true.
And then he's doing all of that to almost holding him there hostage until the sun comes up. Yeah. You can't do all of that and then be like, I'm alive, everyone. It's like, I get...
No. I know the death part. Yeah. I get the connection. And it's very hard because with shows, to me, the focus around having characters is that at some point you want the audience to develop an emotional attachment to that. That's to me, when you have a show, that's the goal. Yeah. Like, we could tell a great story, great fight scene, but we need to have an emotional attachment so people buy the merchandise, they'll talk about it, tweet about it.
And this was the, I guess, quote unquote, perfect way for him to go now. Yeah. Because if they would have let him survive and then he comes back, let's say at the end of the arc, and then he dies, I'd be like...
I would have, if, let's say they kept him alive. He would have had a rematch against...
Upper Moon.
What is it? Aka something?
Yeah.
Yeah. He would have had a rematch. Now, obviously, how that goes, I'm pretty sure they both would have died or he would have died or something would have happened. And then Tanjiro would have just snapped and become, Super Saiyan Demon Slayer or something. So, no. That's what I get the death. The death did its job.
Yes.
It took a character who people, I'm pretty sure, might not have read the manga. They look at this brand new character. They fell in love. You managed to make people fall in love with a character from the time you saw him eating sushi on a train.
Yes.
To the end. And that movie was what, about 2 hours?
An hour and 57.
Certain shows can't do that in a series.
And if you watch it, you can easily tell what the stopping point would have been if they would have made this just a normal anime season. Oh, because you can be able to tell from start, like, okay, they would have stopped here, it would have started off here.
Yeah, but they bunched it all together. Because, and I feel like they did a great job.
Because imagine if there was a season, I think that the fight wouldn't have been as impactful because it would have been like, it would have been stop before they started fighting. Yeah. Fight, stop. And I feel like one of the worst parts for them would have been the stop at. Yeah. Was after he did the historic art.
The 9th form?
Yeah, and then he had the whole deal, and then they would have stopped there. Yeah. And then be like, oh, tune in next week. And everyone's going to be like, no.
Because you can't do that because then the rest of the week, everybody's going to be talking about that fight. Yes. And it would have taken away from, so I hear you. Yeah. We're here. I hear you 100%. I'm just saying, this is why I put Demon Slayer, again, it's not hard, but for me, I put Demon Slayer ahead of Super. I put, not this season of My Hero, next season of My Hero. I put My Hero over
that training
over Super because Super, again, we know what's gonna
Super has the drawback of having Dragon Balls.
Yes.
Just being held in Toriyama's back pocket. Yeah. It's like,
because remember the Tournament of Power, we all thought 17 died. That was this big thing for a week. And then he was two shows later, he's like, I'm back. Everyone's like, where'd you go? So it's like, what did you do?
It's like, you can't, it's like, you can't take the risk of killing off one of the main squad members because people are going to be like, when the Dragon Balls come back and play like an arc or 3 from now, all of a sudden it's like, oh, he's looking for the Dragon Balls. Oh yeah, let's go get him. And first wish, let's bring back Tien. It's like you can't.
Why? It's
like you can't kill. Like if they would have, like if the Dragon Balls weren't in existence anymore for whatever reason, let's say someone destroyed them, it's like no more Dragon Balls. And I'm like, okay, because then if you go and kill then
the fights mean more.
Yes, because if like Gohan dies, I'm like, okay, he's not coming back. Yeah. I'm okay with that because I know this is his end.
Yes.
no more Gohan, or let's say they kill Goku, and you could say, wow, that's a shocker. We know, we know he's not coming back, but of course, people will have backlash if one of like Gohan or Vegeta or Goku, whoever dies. But so it's going to be like, you killed Roshi, and then it's going to be a huge outlash. He's going to be like, next arc.
I think they dug themselves into that hole, though.
Yeah.
If this was a normal whatever, you could have, Goku died in a Cell arc. The original plan was for Goku to stay dead, not talk about to do no more. It would have been Gohan, Vegeta, built up Kid Trunks, but then fans cried and say, how dare you? Yeah. And then, but I'm like, that's anime though. Like, anyhow, I hear you. Like I said, Demon Slayer, if you have not seen it, please go see that movie. The digital goes on sale June
22nd.
22nd, and yes, it is worth purchasing. I promise you, it is worth purchasing, watching over and over. The GOAT will forever live in our hearts, in our memories. Okay. Something else I wanted to say, but I can't remember what it was.
Good. I feel like good.
It was something. All right, forget it. If I remember, I'll bring it next episode. It's probably I will start off the episode with that before we go into something else. All right, thank you so much for joining us. The next episode will be our E3 coverage part 3. Yeah, we're gonna talk. You know what? Bump it. No, we're gonna talk about Microsoft and Nintendo joint, whatever that could be, because that still bothers me. All right, thank you so much for joining us for this episode of Demon Slayer. So freaking good. I'm buying his sword. All right, anything you want to say?
No, you're insane.
All right, cool. Like, subscribe, comment, share. Thank you.